So with TPA work, why do you think there's so many buckets and it's so controversial? From your end, I know you're going to have a whole bunch of training on this coming up. What are your thoughts on the controversy with it and why people may be struggling when it comes to TPA?
It's a very open-ended question, and I wish I knew all the answers to it. But from my perspective on it and talking to people, a lot of people get, it's too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of business coaches and other people out there in the industry feel like TPA work is not as rewarding, as profitable as doing it on your own. And I think that whenever they, just like me, when I walk into a company or we start working with a company, one of the first things we look at is our revenue mix. If they're all heavily TPA, that's a vulnerability. And if they're all with one customer, that's a vulnerability. If you look at, you're only on one section of the city, that could be a vulnerability in that piece of it. So you have to look at what your company is. And that's why I said, and I started that article out, to be or to not to be, because every company is different. And I do agree that you should not be all TPA. I think that's a vulnerability. And it's something, it almost crippled my business when I bought it because it was very heavily TPA. And I think, if you read my article, How to Turn Around Failing Business, we had a large amount of percentage of our business. And when we got suspended, that sales funnel went away. And that was mainly one of our main sales funnels. So automatically we were in a very vulnerable and very emotional situation. Sure. And so that was something that, was eye-opening. So I think a lot of it is, a lot of business owners see it as not as profitable. You're not making as much money. You're being held to a higher accountability and standard. And sometimes they're unrealistic, and you're having to go through a process to get to the insurance company. Whereas if you just did it on your own, if you were not associated with a TPA, then you have a direct route to them. Yeah. So I think that's where the big controversy comes from, is that it's Big Brother, right? They're looking over you. But that's why I wrote the article what I did, because there's certain pieces in there a TPA is responsible for and why an insurance company hires them.